It was nearly 2 years ago that their mom and grandmother was caught in a gang war, an innocent victim, yet they never stopped looking for the killer, never stopped fighting. Well, today, the killer, 22 years old, is now headed to prison for the rest of his life. He was seen leaving the school building, so in theory, the threat is over. But MPD and this school district are following through on their protocols and continue to keep this building in lockdown, systematically evacuating students. This explosion has impacted faculty and staff who work here through the summer months. That 3 of them are still missing. 3 were rescued or taken off of the roof by the tactical rescue crews, the fire department, police, law enforcement. They're all here. Again, this is a desperate effort. A sniper and his killing field. And you're right, we've just arrived here at the Las Vegas International Airport. And let me tell you, a city that is known for partying, for entertainment, for fun, tonight is reeling. The families of Steve Berger and Phil Orrick forever connected by the nightmare that unfolded behind me at the Mandalay Bay Hotel and Casino. We got the wind. Jennifer mentioned some lighter snow, but it's falling at a pretty good clip. And you're right, the digging out is just beginning. In fact, I've managed to stop Ryan over here. Ryan removes snow. And what you said, you're just delirious. You've been working all night. Investigators tell me they are now probing both fires, the one that charred this RV behind me, and then, of course, the house. What was it that ignited the flames Wednesday night and apparently this fit of rage? Talking about a senseless and unprovoked attack on a beloved family pet. You mentioned him, Porter. We're here on Northwest Boulevard, a busy stretch through Plymouth. And middle of the afternoon on Wednesday, police and the owners believe somebody walked up to this fence, stuck a pellet gun right between the wooden slats here, fired a single and deadly shot, striking Porter. And as you can see by the flyer above, the owners want to know who did this and why. Well, thank you for joining us. Jim and Don off tonight. I am Paul Blume, answering the call from the bullpen. Well, in the quest for a Stanley Cup, fortunately, you don't have much time to feel sorry for yourselves or lament lost opportunities. That is a very good thing for the Wild, considering how they gave away Game 1 to the Avalanche the other night in heartbreaking fashion. The fire chief did say there is a possibility that someone could still be alive inside the building. The way it collapsed, right. 2 floors collapsed down. There's still the possibility that someone could be alive in a pocket of air down below. But obviously that effort going on right now after a very traumatic and difficult day here at the school. Witnesses report getting mere seconds, a warning that there was an odor of gas in the building. Some headed for the door when the giant explosion rocked the Minnehaha Academy upper school.
We just heard a loud explosion and just got out as quickly as possible.
There was just a really loud bang.
The lights went out and the ceiling started to collapse.
Some windows exploded and ceiling tiles were falling down.
As soon as my daughter got up to go out into the hallway, the explosion happened and kind of blew her back into the office where we were. There's people trapped on the ceiling and we were trying to get to them, but we couldn't really get to them.
Emotions were overwhelming as loved ones waited to see who made it out and who didn't. Philip Day could hardly believe his eyes when seeing his family evacuated safely.
The explosion was pretty massive. I don't think, just because you're in a close quarters, not exactly sure. It wasn't until we got out here. It made sense when you felt it and heard it and the debris and everything that we saw.
Investigators report that a gas leak appeared to be the root cause. Contractor Master Mechanical had pulled a permit with the city recently to do some, quote, gas piping work at the school. It's not clear what happened to spark the explosion and fire. One body was recovered from the rubble mid-afternoon. Meantime, tactical rescue and recovery crews were readying to finally get into the flattened portion of the building to locate a second person who was unaccounted for throughout the day. But the building's structural integrity remained a huge concern.
These types of collapses, you don't really know whether potentially void spaces created from that collapse that they could be in, so we have to be very precise.
And remarkable, after 7 or 8 hours, they still can't get inside. It is that delicate. That work going to continue into the night as they search desperately for this janitor.
Thank you, Paul.
They're devastated. They're grief-stricken, heartbroken, angry, and confused. You mentioned a 16-year-old in custody tonight, the teen from Hopkins. Meantime, the victim's loved ones asking how and why a 16-year-old allegedly had a gun for a night aboard a party bus.
He was an innocent victim. He just wanted to break everything up so we could all have a good time. He didn't want this to happen.
Alexis Clardy is lost, witnessing her boyfriend, Billy Robles, gunned down in a party bus melee over the weekend. Alexis recalls holding Billy on the ground during a frantic scene, knowing the 19-year-old might not survive a gunshot wound to his chest.
I wouldn't let go of him. Yeah, I wouldn't wish that upon anyone.
The pair among some 4 dozen on board a party bus that took off from and eventually returned to an Inver Grove Heights movie theater. The group celebrating a birthday on board became rowdy, drunk, and chaotic, with tensions escalating between the young revelers. As the teens exited the bus at the end of the night, investigators report the violence exploded, possibly spurred, the police chief explained, by loose talk of rival gang affiliations. What was this fight over?
I don't know. It was over some stupid boys just want to be fun or funny, want to rob people.
Why are kids running around with guns? 16-year-old kids running around with guns. Stop.
Billy's mom, hurting, tells me she is relieved to hear about an arrest, pleading with other witnesses on the bus to come forward to help the family fill in the holes.
2 people's lives are gone now. My son, who I will never see him again, his brothers and sisters will never see him again, and a 16-year-old who's going to probably spend the rest of his life in prison.
In the meantime, the police chief tells me as soon as they sort out the murder charges, he does expect his investigators to take a closer look at the practices of this party bus operator. We're live in Inver Grove Heights tonight. Paul Blume, Fox 9.
Well, a Minnesota woman lost her husband in a crash that police believe was caused by a distracted semi-truck driver.
Tonight, she's on a mission to get motorists to put down their phones. Fox 9's Paul Blume has her emotional story.
He had a zest for life. He loved to live.
Jess Bursick explained that her family has been robbed of so much.
It's very overwhelming.
She lost a husband, their son and stepchildren, a rock star dad.
And my 7-year-old son, Ian, is not going to have a father to continue doing the things that they love to do together.
It was 2 weeks ago, and Rob Bursick was on his way home to Wisconsin from a Minneapolis hospital. The couple's young son had a bad eye infection. Dad had spent the night, then kissed his wife goodbye. Jess had no idea it would be their final farewell.
And that's when I saw the vehicle, and it was devastating.
Prosecutors have said Samuel Hicks was at the wheel of a semi, allegedly paying no attention to traffic on Highway 36. Hicks apparently never saw Rob Bursick's car at the stoplight. There was no attempt to brake. And Samuel, did you want to say anything at all to the Bursick family? They lost a father. Authorities have said video cameras on board the big rig captured the entire distracted driving incident. Hicks is now charged with criminal vehicular homicide and is out of jail, having posted his bond. Jess, meanwhile, had to explain it all to her son.
When I initially told him the news, he started crying right away and asked when he was going to be able to get another dad, and that he wanted the semi driver to be in big trouble.
Heartbroken and angry, Jess has decided to speak out to make sure her husband's death has meaning.
It wasn't just some ordinary man that was killed.
She wants people to see Rob Bursick, to see her shattered world, and to put down their phones.
My husband's tragic death is going to be a message in a forward direction about texting and driving, and I think he would have some comfort in that.
And Jess went on to tell me that she was outraged to learn that Samuel Hicks is apparently still taking in a paycheck from his employer, E.B. Brown. That's a large convenience store supplier based in Illinois. Hicks's attorney said in court recently that Hicks wouldn't be driving semi, but would continue to work in a distribution center. We've got the firm's full statement online now at fox9.com. Paul Blume, Fox 9.